Normally we chat with the mayor of Burlington Marianne Meed Ward on Tuesdays here on Halton News. However, this week the mayor was at Roma, Ontario's Rural Leaders Conference. After all, we speak a lot about the city aspects of Burlington, but people forget how much rural territory Burlington actually has. With that in mind, I started today's chat asking the mayor what Roma had to offer the city of Burlington.
We had delegations with 3 ministers about issues that are affecting our rural area. And it is always a bit of a running joke. I've gone every year since I've been mayor to Roma. And people are like, aren't you the chair of big city mayors? Well, we're half rural. And so I also sit in on a group, top aggregate producing municipalities of Ontario, also known as TAPMO, because we have quarries. And we talked to the minister about speed cameras. Although we lost that fight, we were going to put one in front of Kilbride Public School in our rural area. And the residents were overjoyed because, as you can imagine, in a small hamlet where there's one road that goes through the main road, it's like highway on either side, and we want people to, and the school's right there. We've tried all the other measures that have been suggested. This was going to be a solution. So we did talk to the parliamentary assistant for the Minister of Transportation about that and said, look, we weren't even eligible, insult to injury. We were not even eligible for the funding to replace cameras because we didn't have ours turned on yet. We were caught in that period. So there's going to be another tranche. They did, it was a great discussion. They did invite us to submit, okay, since we can't have that in front of the school, what would be our alternative? And submit some information and some costing, and they'll review it as they look at additional funding. So that's of value. We also talked to them about the general issue of cut-through traffic and how projects on the Skyway Bridge or when the QE shuts down, that really, floods our streets. Can we do a pilot project with them to help better manage that flow? So they're open to that. So really good conversations. We asked for some help about with the parliamentary assistant for the Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing on accessory dwelling units in rural areas. And the issue there is tends to center around servicing. Can you get servicing there? Can we allow like private solutions to servicing? So there's some of that. And then we have overlapping plans right now that are dated. So we have the Greenbelt Plan, the Niagara Escarpment Plan, the Provincial Policy Statement, the North Aldershot Plan, and they all say different things. So we'd like it all to say the same thing. We want to protect our green belt, but for people that, just want to put a shed, we really need to simplify this. So those are the kinds of discussions that we have. We've talked about rural broadband in the past and, really made great progress. So I want to also acknowledge Councillor Angelo Bentavenia. Half of his Ward 6 is rural, and he has come to that conference on behalf of his rural residents every year too. So.
Well, you seem like, everyone's getting on the same page there as far as rural Burlington has gone. We have to bring it home to a little something else here. And I want to talk about being on the same page. There does seem to be a bit of unrest on Burlington Council. Now, you wrote an editorial for the Hamilton Spectator. It had to do with strong mayor powers. Councillors Rory Nissan and Lisa Kearns have questioned why you wrote the editorial, calling it unnecessary, and also responded to you publicly on their social media. That's where I read the unnecessary comment. I give you this traditional media space to enlighten our viewers on what the situation is with this editorial in Burlington Council right now.
Yeah, I was actually responding to an editorial myself. So it was a piece in the spec where one of the new council members in Hamilton was expressing concerns about what the council role is in budgets specifically. And of course, strong mayor powers require the mayor to either present a budget or direct staff to do so. And, I will say, generally speaking, most people are not aware of what strong mayor powers are, what they aren't, what they say, and what the role for council still is. And so, my helpful gene got into action and I said, hey, don't worry. There's actually lots of opportunity for council to shape the budget. And if the public is not aware that their councillors have a voice, and if the councillor's not aware, let me talk about how we did it here in Burlington. So it was really kind of an explainer piece. Here's what the legislation says. And here's how we in the city of Burlington and I have tried to go above and beyond what the legislation requires. So I bring the direction to staff to council to vote on. I didn't need to do that, but they did. They endorsed that direction. Council members can bring amendments to the budget, which they did. I can veto those, which I didn't. And so at the end of council voting on the amendments, we have a budget. So there's a significant role. So that's really what got me, when you have somebody who's actually now a council member who will be part of a budget someday, it's really helpful for us all to know what the legislation says and what it doesn't. So that was my intent in putting the article out there, is trying to be helpful.